we recording?
Life is pain, Highness. Anyone who says differently is selling something.
Classic kids, dude. Kids, they love it. They love
Is
the
it
delay.
usually like Emma the hardest right now because she's the oldest and she kind of has that fight back about going to sleep? It's just, you never know. It could be any of them.
Yeah, it's random, but it's almost for sure.
It's random, but
Yeah, it's 9 times out of 10.
That's funny.
You should
Well, at
bleep
least you
his
know
name
him.
out. Just his name, not Emma's
Bleep.
name. Just bleep Will's name out.
We're talking about Beep. This is a mystery. Who will it be of the three? And then you just say Emma, so you're like, can't be that one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, I guess we could start if we want to jump in on.
Let's talk about how painful it is. Right?
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about pain.
He's dancing. Pain, man. What do you think about pain? There's a lot of ways you could go with pain. I was
know what
thinking,
they
I actually
say.
did some prep. What were they gonna? What did they say?
No pain, no gain.
Wow.
Classic.
You're not wrong though. That's a classic.
Some people do say that.
You're in the gym. It's on a motivational poster.
Mm-hmm.
No pain, no gain. And then the
that's
picture is it's
rock.
No, but it's just it's a literal rock. You know, like boom. No pain,
It's
no
Geodude.
gain.
It's just Geodude with his arms out. No pain, no gain. I would go to that gym. That's like a Pokemon gym. That's a different kind of gym.
It's in an evolution, right? Like he's evolving into Golem,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, no pain, no gain. You know, it's like
Which is
painful
actually
to
kind of
evolve.
funny because Gollum looks less flexible, less everything. He looks like he can't move around as well as Geodude. Geodude floats. Like he could just go anywhere. He just floats.
Yeah, but he's
not as
that
strong,
makes
I
him
guess.
look like he skipped leg day. You know, Golem's like
Yeah, he always skips leg day. That's true.
skip leg day. Golem's all about those legs.
Geodude skipped it so many times that these legs just disappeared.
They're gone. They just walk on his hands like a psycho, dude.
I love the first time that I played those Pokemon Stadium games out of like Game Boy. I remember playing on like Pokemon Stadium, and I was like, "Oh, what's this Pokemon gonna look like?" And it would just like Geodude would just float, and I'm like, "How does that work?" Because I just remember thinking like, "How does he float?"
That's a good question. He's probably the only first generation Pokemon that floats, aside from maybe Mewtwo, but he has like a legitimate reason.
Yeah,
for
his
psychic
is like
abilities.
psychic. Yeah.
So I think Geodude's the only one that can just floats.
And then you have like Goldeen and them that like are fish, but they kind of swim and float in the air when they're standing. But
That's
they
a good
look like
point,
they're
too.
swimming, so I guess that's the idea. Is it's an animation.
We're way off
Pokemon
track
Stadium. All right.
We're way off track.
Pain.
So pain.
Well, you know what was a pain? I felt pain when they didn't make a Pokemon Stadium 3. Now we're back.
Yeah, now we're back. That's a legit pain point. Okay.
All right, so you had some thoughts. You're prepping
I had
about
some
things. I have
thoughts.
some questions as well. What's your lead in? Where we going with? What do you
Let me
think
ask
about?
you this. Are your questions more pointed towards pain generally, or do they have specific pieces, like specific focuses within pain?
They're about like pain as fuel versus processing, shaping, like the way pain shapes you versus like if you didn't have it. Kind of like a fun one, and then something about like the next generation type question. So kind of specific, pointed.
Yeah.
Like I have answers in mind as well.
All right, we can dive into some things, but before we do, so I there's a member of the congregation of the church that I attend here who is I can't remember his specific field of where he practices medicine. He's a doctor. I know he does a lot with hospice and taking care of people who are at the end of their life. And I've had a few conversations with him just about his job, and I think he's mentioned he does a lot with pain management, right? Like
I'm just gonna say a segue, craziest segue to go from Pokemon Stadium to hospice care. I'm sorry, that's just a huge rotation. Oh man, that really flipped. But anyways, so keep going.
Anyways, so he's dealing with people at the end of their life, so he does a lot with pain management and different things like that. So I asked him some of his thoughts on pain, which I thought his responses were very clinical.
Nice.
And exact. What's the word I'm looking for? Technical. So he definitely approached it from more of that standpoint. But he had this kind of interesting first. So I asked him like how he defines pain. I was trying to get him to be a little more philosophical. He kind of went right for the technical, but that was actually helpful because it had a few things that I wasn't thinking about that he brought up. But the first thing he did was
it kind of makes sense. Like naturally for him, he's gonna go that route. Like it makes sense. He's how he's trained.
It's like his whole life. So
it's like his whole life. Yeah, he's got to be correct. Yeah, he can't have a patient come in and it's like, God, can you give me something for the pain? And then he's just like, well, let's think about it. What is pain? He's just like, no, I need something for the pain.
It's a good question. Interesting. Yeah, pain. Let's talk about it. So he was definitely more technical, but he did have some philosophical pieces that were kind of interesting. So anyway, so let's start with his just kind of definition of pain. So he said his text to me was pain equals, which I thought was very he's just like, it's definitive. Like for him, it's definitive. Pain equals the perception of a noxious influence. I thought that was pretty good. Very simple, very short. And
shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Caught me was the part of perception. That's something that kind of hit me when I first read it, was like, oh, that's interesting. That, and it makes sense when you really think about it, but the pain can sometimes just be, it's how we perceive something, right? This noxious influence. And then he goes on to say, usually the term is not applied to noxious tastes or smells, but sometimes the term is applied to emotions related to loss. So I thought it was kind of interesting. He also said, while perception of pain is typically preceded by sensation, disruption, or dysregulation of neurological signaling, I assume that means that there's a trigger event, right? Like, to get stabbed or cut or burned, or something has to happen before your body responds to that as signifying pain. He says higher level processing systems can lead the perception of pain in the absence of any stimulus. So he talks about a couple of diseases that there is no technical, like, it's not something that you'd consider a painful, so it's a non-painful stimulus. He's got the disease listed. I can't pronounce it, so I'm not going to try. But just this.
Oh, no, you got to try. You got to try to say the word.
It's,
or text it to me. I'll try it.
I don't know if it's the disease. It's allodynia. ALLODYNIA. So he says pathological changes in the nervous system can also lead to the perception of pain with non-painful stimulus. So something's happening in your brain that's saying this is painful, but is actually not, right? There's no perceived threat, like a burn or a cut, pain telling you that something's wrong in this case.
Yeah, like there's actually like an injury that hits your nerve, goes to your brain, tells you pain. Yeah. This is like a different, interesting.
This is something that there is none of that. It's just your body saying something's painful. Or there's an amplified perception of pain from a minimally painful stimulus called hyperalgesia. So I think that's where it could be something very minor. You fell off and bumped your arm on a, something, but to you, it's like extremely painful.
Right.
So anyways, kind of just some interesting concepts.
Did he ask why, did he ask why you asked that question?
I gave
was he like,
context.
That was, okay. He was like, that was random. Why do you want to know about pain? You're like, I'm thinking about inflicting some. I don't know.
Yeah. What's the best way to make someone feel pain? Could you just...
Yeah, I want to know. I want to understand pain so I can harness it and use it to my ability, or use it to my advantage.
Yeah. No, I said I'm doing a stupid podcast. Can you tell me more about pain?
Accurate.
Accurate. Yeah. So, anyways, a few thoughts in there. I didn't have a lot of time to kind of sit there and dwell on it. He just sent that to me just an hour or so ago. So,
okay.
Did come up with any questions in that regard, but I thought it was an interesting concept of the perception of something being a trigger event, right? Whether it's real, and then to go on to say, like, it may not even be, there may not be a trigger event, there may not be something that's considered painful to most of us, or what the body would signify as a threat, but you could still feel pain based on maybe some sort of sensory issue or something like that. So kind of interesting. I
guess,
feel like we could have him on.
It makes sense because that would be so sick. Yeah, we should definitely write that one down on the list. I think it's interesting, and I guess it makes sense if that can be true. Like the inverse, I don't know if it's like, I don't think it's a disease, like how you classify it. It's like a neurological, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to speak on that. But there's that issue that someone can have where they can't feel pain at all. So like they can get injured really easily. Just if we're talking about in like a literal sense, I guess it kind of makes it the opposite could be true as well. But which would actually be another neurological thing. That's kind of interesting. I also love that, like, because he's in the medical field, he went straight to like you said. I mean, you said you prefaced it by saying he went right to the technical part of it. Also, I've never heard it explained that way before. Also, I don't know the word noxious. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't use that word.
It's a good. I only know it because it's in. I actually don't know if it appears in the scriptures, but there is a lot of scriptural text or meaning in the church that we discuss. It may be in the Bible.
Poisonous, unpleasant. Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. So I think it might be in Genesis that Adam and Eve talk about, or it doesn't. They don't talk about it, but that when they leave the Garden of Eden, they have to go to a world that's full of noxious weeds, is how I think the Bible puts it.
Oh, okay. That sounds like it would make sense, yeah.
Yeah, so something that's just not pleasant, right? Stuff that's just not, that's how I've always kind of associated, not ideal. But yeah, even that, right? Like the perception of a noxious influence, something unwanted or difficult to deal with. But even that isn't like, that's what I liked about his response. Wasn't like pain equals, I don't know, what you would maybe expect someone to say. Like, it's a signal from your body that something's wrong, right? Like, the term wrong even isn't maybe right in that scenario, right? Pain can mean a lot of different things that, maybe it doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just means your body's sensing, it's perceiving this thing.
Yeah, interpreting it a certain way.
Which I kind of like. I liked that response where it was like, it's not saying pain is right or wrong. It's not saying it's good or bad. It's just, it is, and your body's interpreting it a certain way. And it could be real. It could not be. You may have this disease that's telling you that there's pain, that there's something going on that isn't, or you may have superpowers like that guy from Novocaine, which I've never seen, but I think that's a show.
I haven't seen it either, but it's it's got
the basis, right?
It's Dennis Quaid's kid. Yeah, the idea is like he can't feel pain. Me and Sarah were gonna watch it, and then we didn't. I heard it's fine. It's all right.
Dennis.
So I'm curious.
What's Dennis Quaid's brother's name? Randy.
Randy. You
know Randy Quaid? You do know Randy Quaid.
Yeah, he's from like Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Independence Day. He's mostly known for those two roles, like Uncle Eddie and then Independence Day. Yeah, he's the guy that sacrifices himself in the plane. He's like I'm back or whatever, and he shoots up into the thing when he's in the ship. He's like, he kind of plays himself a little bit in all his roles. Yeah. He's a little out there. A lot out there. But he
Wow, I gotta go watch Independence Day again, and I just
he
want to watch
fits in that
Uncle.
movie better than he probably should. Like he fits in it, and it's kind of like he is entertaining to watch in it because he's kind of like that stereotypical guy. Like he owns like a crop dusting service. Like he was in the military, but like everyone's like, this guy's nuts now, and he's like, I saw aliens, and no one believes me, and then he's like, they're here now. Who believes me? He's pretty funny in it. But that brings me to my first question.
I'm not going to sidetrack you. Go ahead. I was just going to say he was in his fighter jet drinking eggnog. That's all I was going to say. Okay.
The little
That's all I
moose
was going to
cup.
say.
All right. So off that question, or off that kind of like little piece of conversation, what pain in your life ended up shaping you in a way you wouldn't undo, even if you could? So is there something, and again, like you were saying, like registering like pain is all based off preference, like in a literal sense, like some people handle pain better than others. I also think that generally speaking, women are probably designed to handle pain because they do childbirth. So that's like part of like their, I'm just saying like in a literal biological sense, like there's certain aspects of pain they handle better. I only joke about that because my wife does the thing where she tries to come at me with like my eyebrows or something, and I'm like, get away, and I'm like, that hurts, and then she's just like, ah, and I'm like, ow, and I'm like, I don't do this all the time, but she's just like, let's do facial stuff, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that, but then I end up enjoying it after the fact, like I'm not gonna hate on it, but so yeah, people register pain differently, so it can be in any aspect. Is there something that sticks out to you, a pain in your life that ended up shaping you in a way that you were like, I wouldn't undo that, even though I didn't like love it at the time. Even if you could totally undo it, you're just like, no, I choose not to.
Yes. Tricky though.
What?
Man.
Why?
Why is this the first one that comes to mind is deeply personal. So it's a tough one to
You're just like, this was you. Let me recreate you really quick.
Yeah, do that.
Tricky though. You just like smiled. Wait, let's turn on the real lights. Real. We're getting real. All right. Blue is real.
Nice dude, Tricky.
No, yeah, go ahead. If you don't want to share it, don't feel forced to. But if you want to, if it comes to your mind and it's relevant, like.
No, I think maybe I'll just generalize it and say, and this is probably true of a few. I won't say a few. I'll say a couple. People's minds can go wherever they want to. But I think so. And we probably all have on some level, but struggling with like some form of addiction, whether that's it's not heroin, just in case anyone's wondering, but I think a lot of, and I don't know if a lot of people would agree with like if they would be happy with the addiction. Sometimes it's easier to say that when you're on the other side of it. If you're not, then you probably really hate that it, you had to endure it. But I think that's one pain. And like I said, I could see it in a few different areas of my life, not just one thing. But that's definitely the one thing that comes to mind and it's one thing that I spent a lot of time hating, right? Like railing against of like, man, I wish that I never fell into that trap, or I never went down that road, or that I never had to deal with that. But I think in retrospect, I was glad I did on some level. And even not being on the other side, like there's time, like I think people who get addicted to things are addicted, maybe not their whole life, but like you still struggle, right? There's still little struggles that you have as you go through life. And so, not being like 100% on the other side of it, again, would, a lot of times I wish I could go back in time and fix that or do it, not make that mistake or whatever. But I think the pain that I've had to go through along the way of climbing out of that and struggling against it have made me stronger. I mean, that's what you always hear, right? The pain made me, no pain, no gain.
Yeah.
All this trope stuff. But I do think that's true, and I think it's a little different too than like it had previously been. I could see times in my life, let's say 5 years ago, where I thought to myself, "Man, I wish I'd never done that." And I'm actually like, if I could go back in time and I didn't mess it up like Marty McFly or something like that, yeah, I would do it, right? Like if I could keep everything the same, I just never had to deal with it, I'd still go back, even though I could see that there were benefits to me going through it. But now, as I've gotten older, still, not much has changed from then to now, other than I just have different perspective. It's not as much about like that whole no pain, no gain. Like I had to go through it to get stronger. It's just more gratitude that like it's not even about what I gained from it. It's just like it's just part of life. Like I went through a thing and it's okay, right? Like it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to absorb so much of my conscious energy to think about what I would have done differently or wishing it would have never happened or that I gained so much, even that I gained anything from it at all. It's just, just, it happened and it's life and you just roll on. So, yeah, I don't know. That was a long-winded answer to your question, but that's kind of
That's good.
The first one I came up with. It's less of an appreciation for what I gained from the experience and more just an appreciation that I'm alive and that's part of living and I'm not dead. Should we just get some real somber tunes coming down on this conversation right here?
Some sadness lo-fi music.
Yeah. What about you?
So just to bridge off what you're saying, in kind of like a funny way, but also in kind of like a real way, like the funny thing is, like I have a brother who went through like addiction stuff. I have a couple brothers, and one of them, he kind of had his ups and downs through that stuff. If we ever have him on, like I said, as I mentioned this before, he could talk about it if he ever wants to, if that ever becomes a thing. I don't want to talk about it too much. Like I will gladly talk about how that affected me, because it's like that's my story, but I don't want to talk too much on someone else's. But my only thing, because you mentioned that, like the pain that comes with like an addiction to something, like my issue's always probably been food, and I think that started when like I used to play every sport in the book when I was younger. So it was like I would play whatever sport in whatever season, and then whatever off season I was playing a different sport, and I would be skateboarding all day. So it was like I was just constantly on the move. And then as I got older, those would drop off, and then I stopped skating, and then it was like I just kept eating at the same level. It was unhealthy. And then I had influxes where I was doing better and worse. And like a year and a half ago, I lost like 60 pounds and I was feeling great. And then we kind of fell back into it and I gained weight back. And it's just all over the place. So food is like difficult for me. The pro to food is that I have enjoyed myself in ways that I feel like other people might not. Like I know I should eat healthy. And as the older you get, the healthier you should probably eat, which only makes sense. But I also feel like I've known people since I was, I don't know, like a teenager that have never like eaten anything outside of like a very typical chicken, broccoli, whatever. Like they're pretty routine, and they might not even be athletes. Like there might not even be like a full justification other than generally speaking health, which is a justification. But I feel like I look at that and I'm like, I feel like I want to try weird things. I want to try things that initially aren't good for me. Like I don't want to say the phrase like I'm here for a short time, not a long, or a good time, not a long time or whatever, because I don't really buy into that. Like I want to be here for a good amount of time, but also not to the detriment of like I had less fun with food. So like I try to look at that as the pro. Like I've been more open to trying things even if they're bad for me. But I'm swimming again. I'm trying to get back on that horse. But that's just me trying to take a positive from that pain that is terrible. It's like, at least I didn't just live with unseasoned chicken, rice, and broccoli, and that was my life. I don't know how people sometimes do it. But the one that came to me when I was thinking about this question was, like something that ended up shaping me that I wouldn't want to undo was probably like my dad, like seeing how my dad chose to like raise us as kids, as before my parents split up, to the point that he did. There's a lot of things he did that I wouldn't agree with or even do myself if I had kids. Like I'm not like a hitting kid person. Like spanking is like one thing, especially depending on the age and whatever. But I'm not like a hit with a belt, hit with a cane. I'm just not that person. That's just not who I am. some people might do it, and they might do it in a more manageable way that's feasible, and that's fine. But it's, again, teach their own to a certain point. But the other thing was like forcing my kids into a dream that I wanted for them rather than listening to, and letting them discover what they wanted. And that was a big one with my dad, especially when it came to sports, was he really wanted us to play various sports, and mostly it was soccer. And I think as I get older, looking at it now, like the world was really big into soccer. So I get why he was like oriented towards it, because he didn't play that. He played basketball, he played softball, he played baseball, he probably played, all these other sports. And I'm like, we played those, but soccer was the push. And now I get it, as we have like an MLS now, and it's kind of growing a little bit. I'm like, no, the older I get, the more I understood like why it was a thing. But I feel like there was such a lack of growth for some of us, because we felt like we were being forced as square pegs into round holes. Oh, we got to get the mood lights back. I kicked the lights. There's more pain than just that, like, I've experienced in life, but this is just one example where I can learn and do better on my own path. I feel like I wouldn't want to do that to kids. It's something I'm trying to take and learn from it. It was awful, and I feel like when you're in it, like this kind of what you said earlier, like when you're in it, I don't feel like it sucked. Like there's times I was like, I don't like this, but It wasn't terrible. But looking back on it, the pain that came from it was really like, for lack of a better way of saying it, wasted time. I feel like I was already interested in like whether it was like creative stuff, whether it's music or art or something else that I could have honed skills on, while meanwhile trying to force myself to be good at this other thing, which I was pretty decent at it. I played keeper for a long time, but it just wasn't like natural. So I think I'm gonna learn from that, and even if I'm like not a parent and I'm just trying to encourage someone younger than me, even if it's like a few years, like I feel like I can take that perspective a little bit differently, and not try to force someone to be like, you know what I did when I was younger? This, like, you should do this. And even though I know nothing about them or whatever, it's like, I don't know. That was my first kind of thought into that. I feel like we might have it differently, like from a male to like female perspective as well. I'm sure that varies, like the whole like turning pain into like a motivator. Not to say that there's not plenty of women that obviously have. We can't speak to that perspective as well. We both had one sister too. It's not like we were raised by like 4 siblings that were all women. But I feel like men in particular had a special kind of like use pain to motivate. Like no one ever said that. I don't remember. I mean, they didn't say that phrase, but they said it in other ways. And I just remember thinking like, it kind of makes sense on the surface level. You're like, yeah, like shake it off. Let's go back in angry. Let's beat them, whatever. But then I watched something like Ted Lasso, and I remember thinking like, that didn't always work. Like going back in angry, it just didn't. Like it's just because you're not in the clear headspace to like reset. You're just like, and you're making rash decisions one after another. So do you think, I guess my question from that is, do you think that men are taught to use pain as fuel instead of processing it? I don't remember ever being told to process it. I feel like women probably have a better mixed experience of that. I feel like I was almost always told to either not push it down, but maybe ignore it, like kind of just like forget it, let it go, or like use it as fuel. I don't know if that's your experience or not as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's kind of funny what came to mind was like the Sith versus the Jedi. You know, you're talking about like get in there and be angry and use that as the motivator. Very much that kind of mentality. I think so. I mean,
wait. Where's my red light? I hate you. Sorry, I was just thinking about Anakin. What? Which one do you think I was going for?
I thought you were gonna bust out the lightsaber. I thought it was.
I do have it, but I don't have the thing on. I don't have it. It's probably not charged either. That would have been so good though. Missed opportunity. Feeling the pain.
Just put a little Duel of the Fates in right there. You know, in the post edit, pre edit, pet it, whatever we call it.
Anyway, yeah.
Pet it. Yeah. I think so. Just as a to be brief, yes. Yeah, I think for sure that's very much. Again, no one ever told me to. My own dad wasn't really that way necessarily. But I don't know. I wonder if part of it's just you grow up and you play video games and all those guys are pretty tough. You know, you're playing
sports, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, sports. I guess that's maybe a little bit where you get it. You know, like you and I both played soccer. Pretty much on the same level. Like I was on Arsenal. I think I beat you one time or something. I don't remember. It's not. I definitely look. I definitely didn't just play AYSO. No league, nothing. Okay, I was like top of my game. But anyways, you know,
no
you
league,
get
nothing.
Yeah, dude. AYSO.
Put that on a T-shirt. No league, nothing.
AYSO is top notch, dude. You know that's true. We were better than Arsenal. We were better than the high school team.
Yeah, we didn't like go to California and do like a championship or nothing.
You did, but you had to prove yourself. You were proving yourself that you were just as good as the AYSO.
Hey, I was knocked out at least once or twice playing keeper. I blacked out at least.
Did you take a ball to the head?
No, I took a foot to the head, foot to the face.
Okay.
It was like literally stopping a goal, and the guy was running in, and he just like bam. Next thing I know, I'm like walking off the field, and they're using one of those spray fans with the water, where it's like. I'm just like, and I'm sitting on the sidelines, and I was doing good that game. Really, the keeper who took my place let like 3 goals in, and I don't remember if we ended up losing or winning, but I remember being really upset, and I was like, "Put me back in."
He was an AYSO sub. That's what happened. That fan they had with some water that's like smelling salts that had dissolved in it, and they were just hitting you with it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Full
Anyways,
on back.
yeah, you'd get slide tackled or something, and coach would be like, "Get up, let's go, get back." So I think there's a little bit of that for sure that went on, and it probably is more prevalent than I don't know though. Like it probably just depends on what it is, because I've seen plenty of women who just plow through pain and maybe better than.
I was just gonna say, let me backtrack on that, because saying what I said makes no sense, because what I should say is I feel like the way that men were taught to go through pain was in kind of a nonchalant, don't address it, whatever, like don't think about it. I feel like you're right. Like women definitely do go through pain. I stand correct on that. That sounds stupid now than saying it.
You didn't say that. You didn't.
But I know. But I know what you mean. Like when you say that though, like they experience it. It's just different. It's just different than what we experience. I don't feel like there was any processing over here, and I feel like with Sarah, there's been a better chance for processing.
Yeah, maybe it's just different too. Maybe it's the type of pain, right? Like. We as men probably have a proclivity to take something like physical pain, but stupid physical pain, and make it like macho, like
like smashing a beer can on their head or a soda can on their head.
That's a good example. I mean, anything in a combat scenario doesn't happen to 99.5% of men that ever graced the planet Earth, but it's immortalized, it's valiant, it's courageous. You especially if you've ever played video games, you kind of have that skewed vision of something like that, and you could see yourself like in a combat scenario being like, "Oh, I'll take all the axe hits, I'll take all the sword when in reality it's like you'd get hit with a sword and you'd be like, I'm done, I can't, like I'm bleeding out, like, I'm
bleeding out over here.
Yeah. So there's that. There's other dumb. The most common one that we probably experience today is working out, right? Like I'll go do something dumb with we talked about it last week or the last time we talked. Like I've got 2 hernias. I've got my knee is busted up, and I don't quit, right? Like I'm just gonna keep going. Mostly at this point because like it keeps me sane and it's a habit, but there's a part of me that's like, yeah, the pain, right? Like, or if I'm lifting weights and I can feel my muscles, I may be pushing it a little bit too far and I might injure myself. I'm like, no, I got to push through the pain. It's on the other side of the pain that I get the big muscles, stuff like that. Where
the other side of the pain, I get the big muscles.
Yeah. Women may be a little more, conscientious of like, maybe that's not the smartest way to go about.
Right, they like fix, repivot, come back into it instead of just pushing through the other side.
I think they do push through a lot of things, but it tends to have a better purpose, maybe is what I'm saying, behind the reason to like push through the pain is because there's a really good reason to do it versus just I'm gonna look cool doing this thing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Okay. I
let's
really
talk-
just have. Yeah, you're good. Go.
You go.
I think we have like
Wait a minute, because I thought
we
you.
we have the slightest delay today, though. I don't know if you noticed. We usually don't have that delay, but we have this weird little half-second delay.
All right, we're done. That's it.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I do that.
Stop. We're done.
I do have.
Okay.
I have two other questions. Unless you're like rambling, you have a finished thought.
No,
keep
just
going?
yeah.
Okay.
I just had questions this time. I didn't want it to seem like I didn't. So just for all the listeners, I actually came prepared. Chris just has good questions, so we're just going to go with his questions. But I wanted everyone to know that I did have a few questions that I came up with.
Ask the question.
No. It's okay. You go.
No.
Yours are good. No, we're on a good track.
You don't have a question, do you?
I have questions, okay? I've got them. They're right here on this.
Questions
screen.
about pain? Or just
Maybe.
questions?
Could be something else.
I definitely have questions. Hold
But
on.
I have the questions. I like
All right.
you go.
This one's kind of simple. This one is just something I thought of when I was thinking about like pain, and this could be like getting through pain. It could be like loss. It could be like the world is on fire. It could be like your world's on fire. You could be going through physical therapy. It could be like something. It could be anything. But if pain had a soundtrack, what song plays during your comeback montage? And this could change. I don't know that this is always going to be the same. But for me right now, with a lot of various things that have like stressed me out or kind of put me in a depressive state, like there's a song called Better Days by Dermot Kennedy. He's in, I don't want to say it wrong, I think he's Irish. Kennedy would make sense, but he's awesome. Again, the song Better Days, it's very popular. I think it came out in like 2023. He has a lot of new music that's come out since. It's just as good, but it's a song about hope, perseverance, and belief in like a brighter future, especially in times of struggle or maybe self-doubt. The lyrics really acknowledge like pain, exhaustion, and disappointment, like waiting for a metaphorical train. He mentions that in the song that never seems to come or never seems to arrive. But the lyrics kind of shift toward optimism. There's a lyric, it's like the rain, it ain't permanent, and soon we'll be dancing in the sun, which is kind of corny, but in the context of the song, I think it works and it feels really good. So to me, Better Days are coming. Better Days is like a really good soft relaunch because it's not like rocky, like da-na-na. It's not like a crazy song, but it's kind of a softer relaunch of like, I can get through this. I will feel better after. Do you have anything that comes to mind at the moment that's like a very motivating, or maybe one in the past that you're like, this could get me through a bad time?
Yeah. No, it's funny. It's you bring that up. I have one that
question?
came.
Did I steal your question? You're like,
did,
hey, that's
actually.
so funny.
Yeah,
You
that's
stole
so
my
weird,
question.
dude.
Crazy.
Man, I was gonna ask
Yeah.
that, but I guess
Wild.
you asked it first.
Great minds think alike, I guess.
No, I it's funny because I've been thinking lately about music and trying to. I'm not great at identifying like my emotions. I don't know if that's just a general man thing or probably me a little bit more specifically, just because I am very stoic and I don't know. I don't know what happened when I was born. That piece of my brain just kind of got loose and it didn't ever get fixed.
For
And
people
so-
listening to the audio, he's holding his hands up like he was disconnecting wires or something.
Yeah. That's how it works.
I
man.
think it's a
They're up
mix.
here
Like
and
I relate.
disconnected.
I relate with what you're saying. Like I feel that a little bit. I feel like the big problem is that a lot of emotions end up turning into anger, which is really bad.
Yeah.
But I think it might also be you in like a certain aspect. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're right. Like there is like a stoicness that
It's my
know what you're talking
proclivity. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but something. Yeah, like I said, some wires got twisted up in the old noggin. Now the emotions don't go to the receiver as well as they should. But I have found that music, I can feel through music, kind of. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's something about music that helps me. It feels like it connects those wires a little bit better. Anyways, so I've been using music lately. It's honestly not a great. So I have a whole playlist that I've come up with, and it's got you've heard of Sisyphus, yeah? the Greek king,
Yep.
Sisyphus. I've got a picture. You can, on Apple.
Sisyphus, he gave out syphilis, right? That's what people say. That's the line.
Is that the line? Cause
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. Sisyphus, my brain. I'm watching a lot of ER, like I'm rerunning ER, and my brain is like, it just keep pinged that word. Sorry, go ahead. Sisyphus.
That's it, man.
I do know who you're talking about.
Now I'm gonna call him Syphilis. Syphilis. Sisyphus. He's rolling the boulder up the hill, and then he gets to the top, and then it rolls back down. He's got to restart. So I've got a picture of that on there because that's just, this playlist is it's like a motivational playlist, and it's just like this reminder of like,
that's a good one.
Yeah, just keep going. Like if you go all the way back down, just keep going back up. So it's got stuff on there, like On Top of the World by Imagine Dragons. It's got a lot of the score. They have a lot of kind of pump up. The Legend, Unstoppable.
Okay.
Blue Stones has a couple of good songs, stuff like that. So whole playlist of that stuff. So that comes to mind, just a general playlist. Fortunately, the one song that did come to mind, I'm not proud of this. I think my wife she probably would guess what I'm about to say. Again,
Call Me Maybe.
Yeah, that's my pump up song.
No, keep going.
No, it's Go the Distance. You know that one?
Oh, that's a great one though. Like,
what's it from?
Disney aside, like that's like a great song. I just listened to that like 2 weeks ago. I was like, why don't I listen to this song more? Like I remember thinking that. It's a good one.
It's all about
That's Hercules, right?
It's Hercules. That's it.
Good one.
So, and there's
go the distance.
If you want to butch it up a little bit, there is a metal version out there by
of course there is. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Peyton Parrish does a metal version, and it's really good. So, but yeah, that's the one that comes to mind. Go the Distance from Hercules. I just feel like that's one that always kind of gets me. I don't know, whatever it is about that song just kind of gets me back into the focus of like, all right, I can do this. So
the way that song like progresses is what makes me feel so engaged with it. The way it kind of builds and you're just like, yeah, like let's go. Like it's kind of got this like rising action. It feels really good.
Yeah. I think there's some subtle tones too of I believe in Jesus Christ and Heavenly Father, and so there's pieces in there that he's obviously talking to. I think he's talking to Zeus, so it's a little bit of a stretch in terms of the Greek pantheon to now. But there is something in there about I think he says finding it, till I find my hero's welcome waiting in your arms is how it ends.
Yeah.
I just kind of like the build too. He starts off it's like almost about more of like pride, right? He's like, the crowds will cheer when they see my face. So he kind of starts in that prideful setting, but then it ends more with like just this kind of embrace of like, you'll accept me back into, your presence or whatever. So
random fun fact to go off of that, because that is a great song. With like, just making me think about like the Greek mythology side of things. Like I grew up thinking, Greek mythology, like people believed in that a long time ago, but it's been a long time since people believed in it. Now, like we all accept it as like, that's mythology. But I went to Greece and me and my wife were on a boat tour for, I think it was like sea caves or something, swam in the Mediterranean Sea, some of the coldest water I've ever been in my life. I jumped in. I was like, I had to like reset so I could breathe. It was terrifying. Anyway. So we're over there and we're talking to one of the guys on the boat. I don't think it was the captain, it was one of the other crew. And it came up, but people were talking about like, I think we were talking about stuff we would see. And he would point out like, yeah, that's the whatever of, I don't think he would say like Poseidon, but like different people. And he would say, he goes, there's people who still believe that. And I was like, oh, like more recent in time? He goes, no, like today, like you could go on one of these islands and have a chat with someone. And that is their full like religious like upbringing. That's who they are. And I was like, that's so weird to think about that. I mean, there's lots of gods, like everyone has like, like various takes on that world and stuff to begin with. But I feel like we're so raised to think that that's just like such an old thing that people don't buy into anymore. And he was like, no, there's a huge chunk of people that's normal for them. And it's so weird to experience that. Random tangent, but it was just when you mentioned Hercules, my brain just went in that direction of just like, it's interesting. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, last question I had.
Okay.
Also, visit Greece if anyone's listening and you've never gone. It's fantastic.
Also, the country of Greece now always owes us some royalties for shouting them out. So,
yeah, Disney too for
yeah,
talking about Hercules.
yeah, matter of
A
fact.
25-year-old movie. All right, so last question that I had, and this it's gonna get a little deep. We're gonna turn the blue lights back on. No, just kidding. No, it could be. I don't know. So last question: would you remove pain from your child's life if you had the power to, knowing it might cost them growth? So I thought about this, and I'll give you a second to think. So I'll go with my response first on this one. So I don't have any kids at the moment. I think if it was something uniquely drastic or trauma-inducing, like something like really violent, it'd be hard to not want to remove that. Like that's especially if it's just happened versus like, can I remove trauma from like 6-7 years ago? It's like, I don't know, maybe they've gotten to a pace now, but if it just happened, I feel like that's all relevant. But yeah, like a 1 in a million moment that would leave a stain on their soul. I feel like it'd be really hard to not want to take that away from like someone so close and like meaningful to you. However, anything lesser than that, I think I wouldn't touch like 100%. So if they had some drastic moment, I wouldn't want to touch it. But if there was something that was like, they got bullied a little bit, but they came out the other side, it'd be harder for me to like, I'm not going to be like, let them get bullied, but like, it would be like, there is some merit in there, like what they can learn from, because the world is really harsh. So I feel like you can find a way to live with that. Also, you kind of go the butterfly effect. If you're like, well, if I change that, then how does that becomes a whole thing if you start thinking like that. But you could argue that someone like, the very, 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 nonfiction based Batman wouldn't become Batman without the loss of both parents. And you think about all of the good individual, he brings, or any individual could bring thousands or millions of people, and who are you to like stop that? So I feel like that's the challenge of that. It's like, you don't want pain. So I'm curious if your thought, because you have three yep. little ones, if your immediate thought now, because they're also so young, you might, I'll let you say, I'll stop speculating. So if you have thoughts on it.
That's a great question. I'm glad we went with your line of question. I have mine right here. I'm looking at it, but I'm glad we went with yours.
You're right. I can see it. It's huge. I see it now in the reflection. It's right there. Yeah.
Yeah, right in my glasses. You can see it. No, that is a great question, and I think it inspired. This isn't where you were going with it, and I'm not trying to get overly spiritual or religious. It's probably come out more in this episode than any of the other ones we've done, but there's this, what immediately came to my mind was this concept of, and I'll preface this by saying I've never read this book, but I've read about this book, and I think it's the general summary of this book, and this book I'm referring to is called The Problem of Pain by C.S. Lewis. So C.S. Lewis wrote a book called The Problem of Pain. And in it, he's talking about this kind of grapple of like why pain doesn't mean, like the existence of pain doesn't mean that there is no God or that God doesn't care, or basically this age-old question of why do bad things happen to good people, right? Like ultimately that's kind of the question. And I think a lot of people use that, and I've thought about it myself, and I have recently, and I grapple with it all the time, of if there's that much suffering, can there really be some being out there who's really cares about us, is involved in mankind's progression in life and things like that? And then your question kind of hits, and it's like, that's kind of the point, right? Like if I, as me as a father, not as God or, this being, but as a father, take away the suffering of my children or the pain of from my children, what experiences of growth am I robbing them of?
Yeah, at what point are you becoming like a detriment to them growing?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's tough too, because there's what I wouldn't want to take away the growth, but I also would not want to encroach on the agency, which I also think is a big part of God's relation to man, is that he wants us to be agents to, we're going to go back to, I think I said this on the podcast with Carlos, be agents to act and not be acted upon, right? And so in my belief system, God wants us to have agency and act. And if he's constantly interfering in our lives, then we can't do that, right? He's robbing us. If I take away the pain of my child, I'm robbing him of the agency to react to that pain, to grow out of it. Now, that can do one of two things. This is the other thought I had. You brought up someone like Batman, or there's examples of real life people, not that Batman's
whoa. Batman's not real? What do you mean? Gotham?
Abraham Lincoln. Frankly, any person that we may look to as something of a heroic figure has gone through some very hard and painful things to get there. Now, on the flip side, there are people like Adolf Hitler who have also gone through some very hard things that made them a certain way, right? They had the choice and they chose a different path. Yeah. And so you could be robbing the world of an Abraham Lincoln, or you could be robbing the world of an Adolf Hitler, which, we would all probably agree is like, yeah, maybe Adolf's parents should have taken away that suffering from him. It's a tricky and very fine line.
Should have paid people to say that his artwork is wonderful. His paintings were great.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's where it all stemmed from. That freaking.
But I know what you mean. Like, there's like, you can never completely know what's going to happen. Know.
Yeah, you don't know. And I think that's where it's hard. But I think I would tend to lean. Ultimately, your answer was the best, right? Like, really, if I'm faced with it, and I have to look at dead dead center and say, like, these horrible, horrific things, would I want to spare them? Yeah, right? Like, no way I'd want them to have to deal with that, whatever that is. They'd have to be pretty bad, right? On, like you said, there's like that threshold. They'd have to be real far on that. But yeah, I don't think I would have. That's where me and God are different, is he has the willpower and the ability to withstand something like that, whereas I don't, right? Like, I'm just a mortal man, and if I see and can prevent my child from going through a horrible thing, I will do it.
Right, it's like you're seeing a mental, like, a lake that they fell in, and you're like, how am I not going to jump in and help? It feels like you're like, I have to, but...
Yeah, and I'd probably distinguish it too different, as in, like, let's say I'm not there at all, right? Like, let's say I can't... I'm looking at this more of like in a retrospect, right? Like maybe a close retrospect, but like something has happened. I could not do anything about it. I was not physically present. I didn't work at their company. They got fired from, whatever it is. Some way I had no control over it, but then somebody came to me as some mystical being and said, hey, look, I'm going to give you the power for 10 minutes to fix any of your kids' past traumas and pain. Go for it if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, you do it, right? That's the like hypothetical setting I'm living in this question. And that's where it's like, yeah, that'd be tough to let something go that was like really traumatic for them and just be like, yeah, it's just they need to grow from it. To walk away from that without fixing it would be challenging. But I think that's the right choice, right? The right choice would be to, no matter how horrible, say, I respect too much the agency of my child to respond to this thing. I respect them as a person too much, and I respect too much the process of the pain is to interject and overrule the natural order of things.
I can't even help it because it's perfect, because I mentioned Batman, and then what you just said triggered my brain of the quote from Alfred where he says, I think it's in Batman Begins. I could be wrong. It could be one of the others, where he goes, "Why do we fall, sir? So we can learn to pick ourselves up." And it's like, that's it. Like, you can't even argue with that. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the point. If you can't be self-sufficient, then, but like, again, some drastic thing, like if they're on like a plane crash and they survive on an island for a year, it's like, am I going to want to kind of take them away from that? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. That kind of feels a little bit more like you could still live a challenging life and not have gone through that. Yes, that's like such a specific thing. But it's like a loss of a friend, or like getting bullied or something like that. Like, you don't want it, but there's some things you kind of have to hands off a little bit, or maybe give them tools and then they can figure it out. But like, you can't just remove them from the situation or do it for them.
Yeah, tools with how to overcome those emotional challenges. You could, if they're on an island, paint a volleyball, send it to them. That's a type of tool. You didn't laugh. You could tell. You You can tell he's tired because he didn't even laugh at that, dude. That was a class A joke.
That scene made me cry, dude. That was a rough one. Wilson! Like, that was a rough one. And I was like, why am I so attached to a volleyball with blood on it?
Because it's Tom Hanks, that's why.
I know, he's so good. Damn, Tom Hanks.
Dang it, Tom Hanks. No one can do what you can do. True.
Pain is a motivator. Pain can be a crutch. Pain can be a meteorite. I feel like a pain can be so many things, but you're completely right. Perception or perspective on how that pain is processed does matter, and we shouldn't act like it doesn't. And pick and choose your battles when it comes to helping others with their pain. I feel like that's an important thing to think about.
I think so. Well,
yeah.
I came up with, so I had some questions, but I didn't get to use them, but I did come up with a new outro. You were interested, I remember.
A new outro. Yeah, I totally at the beginning I was like, you got a new outro? And you were like, oh, do I have a new one for you?
It's a whole new outro. It's going to be, everyone's very used to the normal, it just ends abruptly. That's not going to happen. Not this time. I don't even know what it is.
It takes my pain away. It's Jimmy Eat World.
That's what we're talking about.
All right, before I get us demacked or whatever it is.
Take my pain
Oh, you just
away.
went super blurry. Oh, there you go. You were like blurry, like super blurry for a second.
Blurred out, dude. What if it was just my mouth that was blurring out right now and then like a bunch of beeps? Can you do that? Can you make that happen?
Yeah, I could probably put like, I wonder if I can put an image over when you talk. If you were just like, oh, get that, and I could just put a word, or like, I wonder if I can put like an image over you. I don't know. That would be kind of fun.
But I'm not actually cussing, and it's just a bunch of beeps.
Beep, 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 beep.
Let's try it. Let's see if you can do it. Hey, I want you to get the out of here, or else I'm gonna fucking explode.
We'll try it. It's just not gonna work. Watch. I can put the beeps in. I know that, but I don't know if like you have to pay for a certain plan to like put like an image over it. I've never even thought about it. Like if we had to put.
Do you edit it in this system?
I edit some. Well, yeah, I would. You'd have to put a graphic overlay. Well, I could in theory take a snippet of the video, like download it from what we have, the recording, and then put it into an editor, whether that's like Canva's video editor or something else, and then put it on it and then put it back in. So I could. I don't know what it would look like after processing, though. I wonder if it would condense it and it would look slightly different than the other clip.
Just beep it. Just beep it in the audio. I said words that were close enough that no one would ever know.
Right. No one would ever know, except for if they listen to the end of the.
Don't. Yeah. Don't. You have to cut that out.
If you're at the end, well, you already know. If you're at this part, because it gets edited to the end, you already know if we succeeded at this or not. So we might be talking about it, and we totally did it or not. I don't know.
It would be kind of like a surprise. Like they'll be like, "Wow, I didn't know Shayler had such a mouth on him," and then they'll get to the end and be like, "Oh, it was a joke.
He's no sailor. It's just a yoke.
It was a hoax. We hoaxed you."
I'm trying some new lighting stuff. Can you even tell, or does it look the same to you?
It looks a little different. It looks a little brighter.
I have this light here. I have a secondary light, which I had, but I did both white lights instead of one like sepia tone. And then I have like a backing overhead light that actually, you can see the accent when I change the color. You can see like where it's hitting me to kind of, I'm trying to do like a separate the background thing. But if I use the color that's the same tint as the lamp that's back there, I don't feel like you can tell, like as versus like if it's blue, you can see where it's coming from.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good point.
Trying stuff out.
I don't
Kinda
know
fun.
either. It's very warm though. You have
Yeah.
a warm. There's a warmness to you today. That's
Yeah, it's
more
definitely
alien.
this lamp is.
Now you look mad. Now you're like from a different planet. Now you're mad. Yeah, it's more like yeah, is kind of gross. Like you're a disgusting creature from a different planet or something like that. That's weird, dude. That's weird that the light can change your face that drastically. That one, yeah,
What is
that's
what's purple? What would purple be? Like like
it
lethargic?
just yeah. As you were talking, it lagged a little bit, so you had like a robot stutter. So now it's robot. I don't
Now I got a dance party.
know. You throw in
Now I
some
got like
jams, dude.
the slow fade difference. This just feels like seizure inducing, regardless of whether or not you're an epileptic. Have epilepsy. I can't say epileptic. That's just too much. Too
That's
old
a
for
lot. That's a lot.
Go back to the regular color. All right. Well, how's your evening going?
Pretty good.
Was it just like
Pretty
kid stuff again?
good.
The delay?